Oh, hi guys. How are you doing? So today we're going to take a brief look at Insulate Britain. What do they want and what's the general situation? So Insulate Britain is a protest movement and they think the best way of achieving their goal is by blocking roads and inconveniencing millions of people. And this can possibly inconvenience millions of people. You know, if you block traffic in one area, it can just affect massive road networks. We have personally been inconvenienced by these people a while ago, but fortunately our sat-nav redirected us automatically, so we missed out on the worst of it. But we were still inconvenienced, so very annoying. Okay, so 70% of properties with cavity walls have insulation. Now that basically means you put a layer of sort of feathery insulation in between your walls, basically, and this kind of makes a blanket around your house to keep your house lovely and warm. And this does actually work. We had it done a number of years ago, and I think 70% is pretty good. There's 66% of homes in the UK have some kind of loft insulation, and 9% of properties have some kind of solid wall insulation. Let's watch the first video. I'm not going to put the sound on for this, guys, but basically this woman is pleading with Insulate Britain. Her mum's had a problem and she wants to go to the hospital to basically see her mum, and she's obviously really upset. You can see she's visibly shaking, and the protesters won't let her out of the way because clearly getting 30% of homes up to scratch with insulation is really more important than this woman going and seeing her sick mum, who I think was in a pretty bad situation. So pretty selfish if you ask me. I guess we can move on. So there was an eco scheme up until recently which gave homes up to £5,000 to insulate, basically, and we can kind of see these are the homes which adopted it. Most of the homes that adopted it are in Scotland, so where it's colder, generally they got more insulation into the homes, so that seemed to work really well. Also, Wales seems to have got a lot of insulation too. It wasn't really adopted so much in the rest of the UK here, in England, for example. But still, nevertheless, the parts of the UK which are coldest seem to get the most insulation, so that's a good thing in my view. Let's move on. So again, this is more footage, maybe a bit more light-hearted. This guy has bagpipes, and I'm no fan of bagpipes, I have to be honest. So he's kind of playing bagpipes to the protesters. So he's obviously being stopped by police. He's not allowed to play his bagpipes near the protesters, but the protesters are allowed to glue themselves to the floor. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, the scheme I mentioned before has kind of gone away. So I wonder what's kind of replaced this scheme, because this £5,000 scheme seemed pretty decent. Why did the scheme go away? Well, we can only speculate, but I suspect it's because of a massive global event. I'm not going to talk about it too much. And I suspect the event caused a lot of budgetary problems, and the government thought, oh my goodness, this is costing a huge amount of money, perhaps we should stop the scheme. But to their credit, they have said people who were previously enrolled in the scheme can still claim the money for the upgrades to the house. Here's a really recent video. So this guy's going around and he's basically putting ink on people. Not very nice. Probably a criminal offence, I guess, but he's just sticking ink on their faces. There's a lot of public anger about this kind of action, because even though people generally agree with Insulate Britain and stopping climate change, it just kind of feels that inconveniencing the public isn't the way to go. So this guy is obviously a priest, and he's generally saying that the government have failed. There are cold houses in the UK and we should do more. I kind of agree with him to a certain extent. Yeah, we need to get those 30% of houses done. Okay, so this is the scheme that kind of replaced the eco scheme, which had stopped. If you are on a income of less than £16,000 a year, then you can get up to £2,500 for a boiler, and you can get £1,000 for loft and cavity wall insulation. So again, the scheme isn't quite as good as the previous one, but it's pretty good, I guess, if you're on a low income or you're on a lot of benefits, or perhaps both actually. So the other thing is there's a lot of local councils who are now starting to offer various schemes to get houses insulated. So if you want to get your house insulated, talk to your local council, I guess, is the message here, or apply through this scheme. This is actually moneysavingexpert.com. Let's have a look at this footage. So I should probably point out, I don't agree with this at all. I don't think this was appropriate or anything, but the woman's trying to get her kid to school and she's really pissed off with these guys. As you can see, she's freaking fuming, and there are people sort of cheering her on around the outside. I'm not even being funny, but you can kind of almost see the difference in class here. You know, you've kind of got ordinary working class people. You know, the guy in the background who I don't think is with the protest, but he's obviously a worker or something. And, you know, there's these people obviously wearing a similar kind of orange, a pristine orange, I should say, jacket. So yeah, the people are just really angry, and she's obviously fuming. And okay, that's pretty much it. A quick note on climate change. 26% of all the pollution, all the carbon emissions in the world are coming out of China right now. China are planning on building 43 new coal-fired power stations over the next few years. China are actually expanding their carbon footprint significantly, and even though insulating the 30% of homes might help a little bit, it's not going to be a drop in the ocean compared to the extra 43 power stations that China are bringing online. Now, I understand why China are doing this. They want to basically improve the living standards of the people, which is kind of understandable, but obviously that's going to come at the cost of a lot of carbon going into the air. So I think I'll leave it there, guys. But yeah, what do you think about Insulate Britain? Let me know in the comments, and I will speak to you guys soon.